So I want to throw out the first question to you guys about, like, what do you guys think, you know, the beauty industry is getting wrong when it comes to people of color? There's obviously a lot of things, but like from your perspective and where you guys are in the industry and in the spaces that you hold, what do you think the beauty industry is getting wrong? Go.
I can start.
Yeah.
I think the beauty industry, well, we've seen a shift. I've been doing this for a long time, as all of us have. We've seen a shift where, you know, I feel like Rihanna really propelled this conversation with diversity and inclusion, with launching 40 Shades of Foundation, which wasn't something that hadn't been done, but what she did so right was she marketed correctly.
Right.
So when you saw her marketing, you saw women who looked like you. You saw models like Slick Wood, someone with a gap. You saw, you know, Ducky, the beautiful model with gorgeous chocolate skin. You
size
saw
inclusivity too.
Yeah, size and inclusivity, and so it was relatable. And I think for brands who did, you know, really serve a big amount of shades for women of color, their marketing campaigns just weren't reflective of that. So, you know, you offer 40 Shades, but I don't see myself when I see your campaigns. And I think that's, you know, now we see this shift where so many brands are starting to expand their shade range and foundation, but you still don't see us in the marketing. So I think that's one of the big things that a lot of beauty companies are getting wrong.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback on that too, because I think for me, I'm probably the newest into the industry at this table, but one thing that I've observed that I find to be really troubling is how everyone's in triage. It's not like, oh, let's be really proactive in the way that we're marketing, let's be really inclusive in the way that we're doing it. It's almost like we're in this state of emergency,
Right.
because everybody thinks that everyone's going to get upset. And it's
Yeah.
actually like, I don't want to be marketed to because you take pity on me.
Right.
I want to be marketed to because I am a valuable consumer.
Absolutely.
I want to be at the forefront of the conversation. I don't want to be like this afterthought where now you're like, oh, and black women. It's like, no,
Right.
like for black women or for, you know, these different groups of people, really bringing people out of the margins. That's what these companies have the power to do, and it shouldn't be an emergency situation.
No,
Right.
absolutely
I
not.
totally agree, because I feel like with the marketing, a lot of brands are talking at us. They're not communicating with us. There needs to be more of a conversation. And to your point with Fenty Beauty, there was a dialogue. We saw ourselves, the languages that were used. You know, there's money to be spent. Obviously, we're buying it. We're buying the makeup.
So
we're buying the
much
hair
money.
products.
So
Yes.
We over-index in beauty spending.
Right.
Like, it's insane. Like, we make up, what, 13% of the population, but we over-index when it comes to beauty because we're constantly buying, you know, stuff to either DIY or like our skin, you know, complexion changes throughout the year.
Such a disappointment that we give away so much, and we're rife with consumption, and we are incredible and loyal customers. I think brand loyalty is like something that makes Black women so distinct as consumers.
And word of mouth, because if you say I'm using this, I mean, we were just talking about this, that like, oh, what products are you using on such and such's hair? Like, if you say that, like, I'm immediately going to buy that, like, later today. Like, it's just something, like, we trust each other.
It's our oral tradition.
Yeah.
It's totally. It's like actually.
It's like law.
Our inherited legacy is to
With like
pass
or that
on.
lipstick, you're like lip bar with black owned, amazing. But it's like, okay, I'm gonna one support because it's black owned, but two, like it looks amazing on you. I'm gonna try it because you said it's amazing. Like Black women trust Black women.
And Lip Bar is Black owned, yes.
It's Black owned.
Which is even helping Black creatives become enterprising. So you just pass it forward.
Yeah. And two, I also think that if there's a product that actually works for us, we're like, oh my God, that edge control, I have to go get it. Yes. It doesn't matter. You'll go buy 5 and test them out, and then when you find the right one, you're loyal.
We also love having those conversations because I remember on your Instagram you put up like what edge control are my girls out here using? Like the comments were lit. It was like everyone had an opinion. There was a little debating, but also the fact that we're so passionate about talking about our beauty that like you would think these companies would pick up on the fact that like look, they're so excited and so passionate about it. Like why aren't we meeting them at that place?
And I think it's really interesting to observe as a phenomenon that I think largely is brought on by social media, because otherwise we're kind of siloed in these dialogues where it's like this very private conversation, or even like edge control. Like I remember being in prep school and being like so ashamed to have edge control, like really truly feeling ashamed to have the products that I need for my hair because I was in like a majority white environment. But I think that happens when beauty industries don't take us into consideration, right? Where it's like, you know, I remember when Carol's daughter came onto the market, and I was like, wow, you know, like in like proper stores we can get these things, and it wasn't the best stuff, but like we could have access to more and really feel present in these dialogues and not feel like it's like this ghettoized kind of way of feeling good about oneself or feeling reflected in the ways in which we shop or prepare ourselves for the world.
Yeah, for sure. Have you guys felt at all within your distinct areas of expertise in your careers that, I don't know, I kind of want to get to like those like dirty stories, not dirty, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to get real for a second about like how you felt in spaces when it comes to beauty, because we've all had those stories where like they didn't match my shade, or I felt like they couldn't do my hair, or I've gone into the store ready and willing to spend all my coins and I can't even give them to you because you're not meeting my needs. Like, what have you guys experienced in your different, you know, areas that has really like kind of ticked you off in a way and made you sit up and want to speak out about what's going on?
I mean, I think I've spoken about this previously where, I mean, even as an editor, where we go to events where we're being introduced to new products and the stylists aren't even trained in my hair texture. They can't even, you know, they don't know what a twist out is. I'm educating you more so, which I don't mind because it's an ongoing conversation. But I think you need to be more well-rounded, more educated, even more open. You know, why invite me into this space if you aren't truly welcoming me and making me feel as though my unique needs are, you're hearing them and they're special and that they matter and that you're truly creating products that are going to work for my hair texture or my skin complexion, you know? Yeah, absolutely. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. What about anyone else?
Situations like on set where the client, not the personal client, but like, you know, could be the magazine or whatever, they appreciated my style and what I could do, but they didn't want me there. They rather have, you know, one of their friends or whatever who wasn't black, you know, to just like ride the wave, but have me there kind of like assisting, but not calling it assisting. You know what I mean?
Teach them what you do, and then we're going to put their name on it.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
And it's been like several situations to the point where the actual client was like, this is crazy, you know, like they got to really see it, you know? Like they love what you do, but they just don't want you to be the one to do it, you know? So.
How do you combat that? Do you like, do you just not take those jobs because you're not going to use me in this way? Or do you say something? I mean, that's got to be a tricky thing to navigate.
Or do you take the job because you want the experience, you want the
it's
exposure?
Different levels. It's different levels to it. There's some things that I accepted early on that you couldn't pay me to accept now. And then there's some things that I accept now that I know later on I'll wonder, like, what were you thinking, you know? But sometimes I feel like I have to be at the table to have the conversation. So I'm in there and then I show them, you know, why I'm needed, you know? And then the next time, like, there's been situations where they call me because they did realize that there was a need, you know? So I guess maybe I made it a little easier for the next brown girl or whatever. And I was like, this is so crazy that this is happening now. Like, why am I feeling like, you know, Harriet Tubman?
But that brings up the whole...
I just wanted to do hair, you know? But
I mean, I want you all to talk about, like, different stories, too, but that also brings up the whole idea of, like, appropriation, right? And we've seen it left and right on the runways, like, in the magazines, like, in conversations people have, the references they give. Sometimes you're like, this doesn't add up. Like, I'm gonna need you to drop some black names and some like real black references because
and they rename, and that's the disrespect. You know what I mean? It's like
boxer braids.
Boxer braids, or even like when cornrows go down the runway, it's no chic. Look how chic they are when you put them on a white woman, but when they're on a black girl, it's ghetto, and it's like it's not, it's unkept. You can't. That's not appropriate to wear your cornrows. But once you put it on a white woman to wear cornrows, it's like, oh, now it's acceptable. Like you can wear cornrows anywhere now. now because white girls are wearing them.
Baby
or
hair is
pink
trendy.
hair or
Right.
whatever. It's like it's so
baby hair.
it's so loud in the daytime,
We're being
any other
trolled.
time, but now
Yes.
We're being trolled.
We're being trolled. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like we're being trolled at a certain point
this isn't new.
it's not, let me tell you something. There's enough literature. There have been enough public outcries that you can Google this now. It's not like there's some void of information about cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation. And so I feel like a lot of times you'll sit up and you'll be like, you couldn't have possibly have done that.
It's almost like you're feeding into it, and you know what the conversation's going to be. So like, chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot. It's layered. I mean, we can go deep into certain people and their trolling and that sort of thing, but it constantly happens. We've even seen it with this whole blackface situation in fashion, right? It's like, how many, I don't know, when Dana and I worked together at the Huffington Post for a while, and I wrote so many stories about blackface. All the stories about blackface. When do you not get the memo that this is not okay, or that you've seen this imagery before and people got upset and I shouldn't do that, but you continue to do it? Like, what do we have to do? Like,
Or when do you hire people of color so that if you're not aware, you have someone internally who's overseeing and checking off the boxes to make sure that this doesn't happen?
and that's truly at the heart of it. Like, what does your corporation look like? How did these things get approved? That you did not have someone of color say, you know what, I know you think this might just look like a cute little monkey or like whatever, but this is gonna be a problem for you. Like, it's not okay, but they get away with it and they keep doing it. So like, how do we stop it? We can boycott, we can do all of that, but like, what really is gonna make the change?
I think one thing that's really important in this dialogue is that it isn't always on the person of color in the room. Like, I don't think that that's the immediate solution, because I think that there's all skin folk ain't kinfolk. I do think what's important is that there's a change that happens at a corporate level such that everyone is thinking about these things. Like, when a lot of these things have come down, I'm like, what does it mean to have rubrics within your office that people are actually really well educated? Like, what would it mean for everybody to have to go through mandatory symposia routinely? As you know, like, there's all types of cultural sensitivity trainings that happen in corporate America, period. So like, how can we indoctrinate these things so that everyone feels accountable?
I do think that there needs to be more diversity within these companies, but you're right. And you know that, I know Beth Ann Hardison always says this, that, you know, like, I'm not talking to y'all, like, we know what's up, right? Be like, I'm talking to the white people in the room. Like, be the woke white people in the room,
Be
making
accountable.
sure, be accountable. Like, don't be like, we just need a black person in here to be the woke police. No, like, why don't you know what's right and wrong?
And that's to your point, like, why is it that I'm the only black editor, why is it falling on me to speak up and call you out on it, you know?
And it takes away from your time.
Yes.
Because you have other things to do there.
Yes. I don't want to write another cultural appropriation essay.
Right.
I don't want to explain.
But we keep doing it. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
know.
how many articles do we have to write? How many roundtables do we have to have about this conversation until it gets through their brains that this is not the way you should be moving?
And that's the thing that goes back to
on the one person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like me. I don't want to just be called when you're ready for cornrows.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I fight that a lot. Like, I don't know where this happened, but I've become this natural hairstylist. I'm really not. You know what I mean? But I guess they needed a space filler for that box. So, you know, they call me for the natural questions. Like, what's great shampoo for natural hair? And I'm like, I don't know.
And I do think that like, do you find that because you're a black woman, they're just like, they only call you not only for that, but like when they have a black star or like subject. So it's not like when a white woman needs her hair done, like, you can do that because you're skilled, but they won't call you for that because they don't think that you can do it.
Yep, that happens all the time, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not with like a large agency, so, you know, they can't like shop me with another artist and then I can build my European portfolio. You know what I mean? It's like they come to me directly for what they want. So they see black, they want black. You know what I mean? They don't ask me, you know, how should how did you like Susan Sarandon's hair or whatever. They want to know, did you like Lupita's hair? You know what I mean? And I'm like,
and like, why can't you commentate on every hair?
Right.
I know how to do all hair. So I want to ask you guys to like a practical service question too for people that are watching. Like, where do you guys find your products? Like, where do you go to for advice? I know we just talked about the fact that we are our own like social media network, like Black women, but like, where else do you find that? Like, I don't know, like, where do you guys look for your beauty knowledge and like products?
I still go to the beauty supply store. I'm such a junkie. I love to go in and see what products are on the shelves, and also like be nosy and see what other people are shopping for. And then like here, like we're jumping in each other's comment sections. Like I definitely left some edge control recommendations, and was also like Googling what other people were saying as well, because you know, if you can, like, I can look at your edges right now and say, oh girl, I'm gonna get that edge control, then I'm gonna go and do that. But yeah, the beauty supply store, word of mouth, those are my two big ones.
I feel like social media has been really great too, like with all these Black-owned beauty companies too. I've been like finding them like crazy on Instagram. I mean, people will repost, I'll see them in their stories, I start following them, I'll like, you know, order some stuff, reach out. Like I think social media has been just like amazing platform for them to, you know, get the word out that they're out there. Otherwise, I don't know how I would find them.
Especially for smaller businesses and entrepreneurs, it's so great to see how they use Instagram and Facebook and Twitter to really get their product out.
Word of mouth is still my favorite.
Awesome.
Like, I trust who I trust, and they're gonna not fluff it up, you know? It's like, I love that edge control, but it left my hair flaky after 3 hours, you know?
Black women are like brutally honest. And to like, not to a fault, to like an amazing point, because they will not
made for us.
Absolutely.
And it's abundantly clear when you go to rub it on and you're like, this was not made with me in mind. Next.
Or we'll be like, sis, keep your coins in your pocket. Don't buy this. I did it. And like, it wasn't cute. So don't do it.
Or we get super creative where it's like, okay, you have to take a little bit of that one and mix it with this and cocktail it, and
be like, get your tea tree oil and dip it in there, and like, you like mix it up and do all the things.
Like 10 minutes.
I feel like social media is like the new Black hair salon, right? Like, so it's like that is where it's kind of gone to, and I can spend hours in a rabbit hole on YouTube or going down in Instagram accounts, just finding new products, finding new people's hair who resembles my hair texture, right? So I'm like, oh, she's like a 4A, okay. So she must, and then I adopt and I learn from them and I absorb, and I think that that's like the beautiful thing. And I think also like within that, it's been able to expose our secrets and our tricks of the trade, and not to have these conversations in secret anymore, because kind of to your end of like being kind of shrouded in a sense of shame about having to use these products, now we're like, oh girl, wait, and it's much more public, and it builds a larger sense of community, I feel like. And it's just, I mean,
it's so interesting that you say this, because I just had a conversation with my sister, and she was saying she hated that she feels our secrets are so exposed now.
I know.
She's like, that is almost, it's like a double-edged sword. It's like, everybody doesn't really need to know that it's a wig. Everybody doesn't really need to know how we lay our edges. And she feels like it almost propels the appropriation.
Because they're like, but if I rolled up on you and asked you what's the best curl cream for my 4C hair, and you can't rattle off 5 things, like you're truly not that great of an editor. Because Black people read your magazine, and if you are not serving me, if you don't understand my hair, then that's a problem. And I can tell you the best 5 medium hold hairsprays, and I don't even use that in my hair. That's a problem. Like, I know about you, but you don't know about me. That's a problem. And even educate yourself.
Even the events where it's like, us as Black beauty editors, we go to everything.
Even if I know it's look,
you know that, you know that it doesn't cater to your reader, but you still go. And we're responsible to go. But when we go to the events for Black-owned companies, Black-owned hair companies, it's just us. It's us. It's like a reunion. It's like, hey girl, we know who we're gonna see, and it's just.
But where are the white girls there? You need to know about edge control and relaxers and like all of that, and like, why wouldn't you want to be there and know that information?
Because there's no accountability on them to, you know, then it falls on us. You know, let's hire that one black
they'll just
director.
email me and
Yeah.
ask me what I think. And
Email Nikki.
Yeah.
What's up?
Let me go to her Instagram
fun.
story and see what concealer she's using for her skin tone. You know what I mean? I don't have to have my editor to know
Exactly.
what's going to match.
Or like, I'll send the one black girl on staff to go to that event,
Yes.
and not the white girls that need to go to the event too. You know, it's like,
Even if it's the intern, and I'm not going to let her have a byline to write the story.
right.
Let's just have her go.
It's like, I feel like it's a double-edged sword,
Yeah.
right? Because when you're like, you're one of very few black people in a space, in these publishing spaces, I felt like it was a responsibility to tell these stories and to like and underscore artists like Nikki and her contemporaries and just our stories and trends and stuff like that. And then, people are like, do you feel like that's kind of like myopic? Do you feel like you're kind of being ghettoized? And I was like, I don't know, because I know the work needs to be done, and like I know that that means a lot for that intern to go to an event, and but then also at the same time, like Katie needs to do her due diligence too.
Yeah.
And like I guess also the other side of it is it can make an impact, and you can see. I definitely saw my previous job that the scope got broader and larger, and I feel like I had something to do with that. I'm not saying I'm directly responsible for that, but like by showing, there's an ROI, by showing the SEO keyword, you're going to get your clicks, you're going to have a broader reach, an audience. I think people are like, oh, okay, well we can report on that,
Right.
Sure.
and that's going to pick up more people.
Yeah.
It's a very Morrisonian thing.
Yeah.
Like Toni Morrison, like writing specifically about Black experiences, like centering yourself is really important in that same note. Whereas like there's actually no shame in being a Black beauty editor interested in writing Black stories or promoting Black stories or challenging others to do so.
Right.
Like I think that we are well deserving of that opportunity. The thing that I hope
And
for,
to own that narrative.
yeah, and the thing that I hope for is that there's just more imagination. Like whenever I think about like racism or limits of representation, I'm like, you just lack imagination about the Black experience, and I just want you to try harder.
Yeah. And bringing that back to like the retail space, right? The beauty companies that, we're trying to hold accountable. Like, I even think of like the fact that like Black women largely wear scarves at night or something, or wrap their hair up or do something to protect their hair and their edges and whatever at night. If a white woman did that with her hair, you know what I'm saying? Like was like known for wearing like scarves and bonnets and stuff. Every hair company would have a scarf or bonnet on like the market, right? Like the fact that you have Black women who walking around with whole hairstyles and whole needs in the beauty space, and you're not even serving her, makes me feel like you don't like making money.
Well, it's also when you know
Like-
that Black women spend 9 times the amount of money as other ethnicities in the beauty space. I mean, it's just flabbergasting that.
I'm like, Black
not
women
being
are
served.
wearing like braids, like crazy locks, like, and you don't have any braid spray or lock twist or like whatever. Like, are you?
for Loxus?
This is honestly nothing. Nothing.
And Karen started carrying lock butter. I literally was like, "Are you serious? This is the one thing I had."
Right.
But that's
Kimberly be in the
crazy to
kitchen
me.
with her
Like,
tea tree,
like,
mixing up her
like
concoction.
Breaking Bad.
And it's just like I'm not the only Black woman doing
But
that.
doesn't that blow your mind that there are whole hairstyles and whole things out there that they're not even giving product to addressing? Like, it's crazy to me. Like, that is such a big, huge business opportunity that they're missing out on. I mean, part of me is like, whatever, make your bed and lie in it. But at the same time, it's like we deserve our beauty, our existence, how we walk, how we show up in the world deserves to be considered. And it's like they're blind to it. They're literally walking by women every single day with these hairstyles and these lives and these needs, and they're completely ignoring it. That's crazy to me.
But we also shouldn't be limited to one section in the
In the
on
store.
the aisle in the store. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Nikki was saying, you're not a natural hairstyle. You can do all types of hair. So give me something for my braids. Give me something for my locks. Give me something for my blowout. Give me something for this lavish ponytail. You know what I mean? Like cover all bases.
Yeah. Okay, on that note, we have to wrap up. But I want everyone to go down the line because I like to end on solutions. You know, we talked a lot of shit, which is needed. And you know, I think it's real, and we need to be real and talk about the issues. But I also want to talk about things that you guys think that the industry as on a whole, retail, you know, media, all of that can do better, and how they can be accountable, and how they can move forward, how we can move the needle, right? Baby steps. We can take leaps too, but like, how can we leave this conversation knowing that we at least also got out some like really actionable things that like we can think about and do. Go. Anyone can start.
I think it needs, I mean, we talk about like the corporate side and having these directors of diversity and inclusion, but I think it's more cyclical. Like, come down to the floor. Like, I need the makeup artists and the hairstylists in the retail space to actually be educated and trained, and for there to be a conversation, because I'm pretty sure there's women or men or different individuals who've come to the counter and they didn't know where to start. You know what I mean? So take that up and have this conversation going on so that you can create these products. Also, we need more Black women that are cosmetic chemists that are creating the products. You know what I mean?
Product creation.
Give us R&D people, give us marketing people. Like, it just needs to be more holistic from the beauty space as far as meeting our needs.
Noted.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyone else?
I would say, I don't know, this is a thing I think about from like museum perspective, because that's like my work originally. When something is broken, right, like if a light bulb breaks, you call the electrician. If the light bulb breaks, you don't call a plumber, right? And so I think in these situations, it's really important that you hire the proper people to do this kind of work. It's not just like your friend. It's not just like, you know, this person that you think kind of does this. Like, really rigorously looking at your practice as a company, and from the top, from the bottom up, like really resolving this solution, and not always having to be in a position where it's reactionary. Like, I do not want to read another apology. We don't have to be in this cycle of constant apology making. We can really be looking to like the proper electrician, the proper surgeon, the proper person who has the credentials to resolve these problems before they become public issues. Because you have to be thinking about your entire consumer base when you're putting products out.
Real change, not Band-Aids.
Yeah.
And I would also say that we have to create systems that maintain the retention of those people that the companies attract. So if we do get amazing Black female chemists who are coming in and creating product for companies, or if we get product, you know, diversity, global diversity directors, those people feel safe and they feel encouraged in their workspace. Because I know I definitely have had that problem in the past where it's like, yeah, this is great, I'm like really changing something, but then I don't want to stay here. And like, and so many people of color will leave really great opportunities because they're just not getting that support. So I think that's also like somewhere in that spot.
Nikki, in your space, what can folks do?
Remember that we kind of have the power, you know, and we give it away, I think, a lot of times. I feel like we tend to want to, well, sometimes we don't recognize like our greatness until it's imitated. You know what I mean? I just can't, I can't wait until you tell me that my braids are cute to think that they're cute. Like, some things we have to know, and like, that's just too much control for someone to have over you. When you realize your power, you move different. You know what I mean?
Can I get that on a shirt?
I know. You're talking in tweets, girl.
That's just how I feel. I get so offended. I get so offended when I see people waiting, or they wait for the style. I'm like, your little cousin was doing that, and you told her to stop it.
Right.
And now it's cool because it went down a runway. Like, that's so stupid to me.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm a creative, so it's like I want to go first anyway. So I appreciate the things that we were born with, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's simple. It's like, don't buy. Basically, I don't fuck with nobody who don't fuck with me, you know? And
Again, a tweet.
that's true. So that's just how it is, you know?
I also want to say, I feel like what Barneys is doing, you know, today, to have us here, to have someone like Candace be able to initiate a conversation like this is a step to where I think retailers should be going. Listen to our stories, listen to what we have to say, consult with us, and I think that we can help, you know, make change.
Shout out to Candace.
Shout
out to Barneys. We're so glad that you guys listen to us, and hopefully you're having your own conversations at home and with your friends. Thank you so much, Barneys. Thank you, Candace. Thank you for allowing us to come together. We're all in this together and trying to do the work. And so we really appreciate a platform like this to make sure that our stories are being told and that solutions are being created. Thank you. From the Brown Beauties at Barneys.
I can't do it